Once we sign our name on dotted line, doesn't matter. We're part of the United States government. We're owned by the government. This isn't anything new. Freaking special operators, like they're the ones testing and stuff. But you know, combat is tough. It's rough on the body. It's even training because we train like we fight. But this is also why we have expendables, because we have these government experiments that actually they're just one-time use. Like, we don't know the effects of them or things like that, and so people are. I'm sorry, ma'am, your husband died on a training mission when he was actually just in a hospital. Because he had a side effect from some drugs, and so. And the thing is, once you're special operation, there's a security clearance. There's how much you're gonna talk. And some people, unlike myself, and I talk. But there's a right way to talk and a wrong way to talk. For instance, Drone. What's his name? Drone. Hold on. Drone League. Let me just do that. Can't remember the guy's name. He committed treason. He abused his position of power. And he didn't do things the right way. I mean, am I thankful I exposed it? Yes, but he's not a martyr. And Chelsea Manning, or She Manning, whatever the fuck, Snowden, they're treasonous as well. Did things need to come out? Yes, but they did things the wrong way. They did things extraordinarily the wrong way. There was no whistleblower protection on that, because, yes, there are internal affairs, because every process has a procedure, and every procedure has its process. It's like it's redundant. There's redundancy built into the damn thing. I wouldn't have been able to make return from the army if I didn't know how to defend myself. Because they were trying to get me out, and I smoked weed twice. I had 2 Alcohol 15s for it. And also, like I said, we'll get into some politics of that, personal ones. I asked the fair. Let me just stay on point. I smoked weed. I knew, and when I sat down with the journal, I told him I picked up a joint. I didn't pick up a gun. I wasn't getting help. I'm still not getting help. I keep on telling me, hey, are you off for pills? Are you off? Well, I don't like a lot of those pills, and freaking no pills can cure me from this fucking madness, but I digress. Alright, so the U.S. military says it is months away from launching clinical trials of a pill designed to block and reduce many degenerative effects of aging. An oral treatment that a leading researcher in the field says is better than nothing, while questioning how effective it will ultimately prove. U.S. Operations Command, SOCOM, which develops and employs special operation forces worldwide to advance U.S. policies and objectives. They're basically, the Goon Squad, henchmen, has completed preclinical safety and dosing studies in anticipation of follow-on performance testing on a first-in-the-class nicotinamide nucleoide oxidized state enhancer. So nicotine is in it. A small molecule drug being developed by Metro International Biotech. Navy Commander Timothy A. Hawkins, a spokesperson for SOCOM, and told Jen, it's in the preclinical trials, and preclinical studies and clinical trials bear out. The resultant benefits include improved human performance, such as increased endurance and faster recovery from injury. So it seems like it just prolongs the process of puberty. This effort, in particular, is about enhancing the mission readiness of our forces by improving performance characteristics that typically decline with age. These efforts are not about creating physical traits that don't already exist naturally. And the thing is, back in early 1900s, we were experimenting with pineal glands to create super soldiers. Secret societies like Skull and Bones have been in a scientific study where they fed ground up tablet from veal pineal glands to various animals. In the studies, they conclusively showed that this brought the animal to sexual maturity much quicker than the control group. That would include mental maturity too, as evidenced by development of the puppies. Definitely do your homework. I had to pretty much put everything into this in order for it to show up. Maybe it took.
You'll be a major in the Marines.
You know, I told you I was part of a ritual sacrifice and everything like that, and I was in the ritual experience. Like they drew my blood, and they did a spell, like whatever the fuck, right? They carved witchcraft sigils into my forehead. They knocked me out. They fought me, knocked me out, carved witchcraft sigils in my forehead, and sewn me in the palm of my hands with a scorpion, and put a little tattoo dot right above it. But, and that was in Corsa, Arizona. California is right along the way, and Charles Manson was in Death Valley. And just listen to these little stories here, because if we're going to be talking about some anti-aging and stuff, then let's just go there. I swear that they were trying to freaking they were trying to get me. Sounds really crazy and stuff, but this goes back to vampirism and cannibalism, and yeah.
Jesus, God Almighty, said the Southerner. What the hell's going on in this country? You'd never believe it, said my attorney. In L.A., it's out of control. First it was drugs, now it's witchcraft. Witchcraft? Shit, you can't mean it. Read the newspapers, I said. Man, you don't know trouble until you have to face down a bunch of these addicts gone crazy for human sacrifice. No, he said, that's science fiction stuff. Not where we operate, said my attorney. Hell, in Malibu alone, these goddamn Satan worshippers kill 6 or 8 people every day. He paused to sip his drink. And all they want is the blood, he continued. They'll take people right off the street if they have to. He nodded. Hell yes, just the other day we had a case where they grabbed a girl right out of a McDonald's hamburger stand. She was a waitress, about 16 years old, with a lot of people watching too. What happened? Said our friend. What did they do to her? He seemed very agitated by what he was hearing. Do? Said my attorney. Jesus Christ, man, they chopped her goddamn head off right there in the parking lot. Then they cut all kinds of holes in her and sucked out the blood. God almighty, the Georgia man exclaimed. And nobody did anything? What could they do? I said. The guy that took the head was about 6'7" and maybe 300 pounds. He was packing 2 Lugers, and the others had M16s. They were all veterans. The big guy used to be a major in the Marines, said my attorney. We know where he lives, but we can't get near the house. No, our friend shouted, not a major. He wanted the pineal gland, I said. That's how he got so big. When he quit the Marines, he was just a little guy. Oh my God, said our friend. That's horrible. It happens every day, said my attorney. Usually it's whole families, during the night. Most of them don't even wake up until they feel their heads going, and then, of course, it's... The bartender had stopped to listen. I'd been watching him. His expression was not calm. 3 more rums.
Real quick, kind of sounds like the Manson murders, right? I even call it out then. But, yeah, like, I saw some shit, man, and I understand some shit, and so that's why we're going down. I wonder if I actually have the, So. Oh, never mind. Reprinted from Transactions of the American Gynecological Society. So, or was that genealogical? My fault. Not familiar with reading doctor stuff. Even still, I mean, I should be, but let me actually just get to a point here. Constitutional, under the designation are grouped the manifestations attributable to the derangement of the pineal glandular function. This constitutional syndrome consists of, first, early sexual maturity, evidence in enlarged sex organs, pubic hair, general body hair, early change in voice, second, precocious mental development, evidenced in the maturity of thought and speech, third, general body overgrowth to the extent that a child of 5 or 6 years old may have the appearance of a 11 or 12-year-old. And keep in mind, this is in 1917, and part of the reason for this is, okay, we're World War I. What if we, were able to, get these 5 or 6 years old to be, mature enough to be, 11 or 12 years old in a short period of time? That way we have, great numbers in our forces. And then, this goes into, like, what I was saying about special forces. And it's like, we have this knowledge over 100 years ago. Then, I mean, yeah, and then you put these guys on suicide missions and things like that. They're genetic freaks. Who control, Delta Force. They mess with the Delta brainwaves and everything. It's, I don't know about the vaccines and all that crap, but, and this goes into Hollywood too, because you have these kids that are 5 or 6 years old, and they're maturing right before these pedophiles and everything. And then they're grown up in that because, like, they have a different, they're groomed differently. I'm not saying everything quite correctly, but the general gist of everything is on point. Especially talking about the witchcraft, drinking blood, cannibalism, pineal gland, eating pineal. I mean, that's cannibalism. If we're eating human pineal gland, that's cannibalism. And then adrenochrome, EpiPens degrade into adrenochrome. But, manifestations. Hold on. Yeah, let me, bring you just to some pictures. Actually, I wonder if I might have to go back to another video. Yeah, hold on a second. Okay. Gland tri-weekly. Let me just do it here. Comparison of two groups of toad tadpoles taken from the same lot, photographed simultaneously after 2 weeks of laboratory feeding. Group to the right fed small amounts of desiccated pineal gland tri-weekly. Group to the left eat an equivalent amount of muscle tissue. And so we see that there's enhanced growth here. And let me actually go back to a different video. All right, I'm going to include a link to this. Under identical conditions, but without the pineal gland administered. Because, yeah. The pineal gland, which is indicated in the above picture of the human brain, has been found to develop growth almost miraculously when administered as food. And it looks like a little that's why it's pineal gland. And they say that's the third eye, and it actually receives light and everything of that nature. And if one looks at Freemason structures and stuff, like there is symbology with the pine cone and whatnot. So, and this is about the third eye awakening, and currently it's about the size of a pea, but back in the day, it used to be a lot larger. I would say like about a thumbnail in size. So that there is a picture of the smaller was maintained under identical photograph of two chicks, each 3 weeks old. The larger one had been fed on pineal glands, while the smaller was maintained under identical conditions, but without the pineal gland administered. Oh my God. Is that Bohemian Grove? Like, why in this article would they put freaking some Freemasonry or some Bohemian Grove, some freaking... They put Moloch in the background. Like, why? The extraordinary picture of war by Imo... Speaking of glowworms, Mars, famous figure of a monster representing war. Wow. Okay, so does that prove cannibalism? Does that prove what I'm documenting now? Wow. Doesn't that look like a little bit of an owl? Almost like the statue of Moloch.